guys and welcome to Drive Spark. I'm Promeet and what we are driving today is another EV from Tata Motors and this is the Harrier EV. Now we are going to drive this car and tell you everything you need to know about this SUV. So let's quickly start this video. So let's start talking about the front end of the vehicle. Now the very first thing you'll see are these DRLs. Now this also gets a connected DRL. This entire thing is the DRL and these are the dynamic indicators which obviously convert into the dynamic indicator. So the indicator is only this much, the DRL will continue to glow over here. This is the front grille, that's a body colored grille. Well, in the normal Harrier you have this opening because you have an engine, so this needs air to cool down, but over here you can see you have a slit and a vertical kind of a grille over here that pushes in some amount of air. Lighting setup on the Harrier EV is completely an LED setup. You have a bifunctional LED projector and then you have this cornering lamp and fog lamps as well. You also have vents over here that channel air through it, cooling the brakes and the tires, and also makes the car a little more aerodynamic. There you have the front radar for the ADAS that works in sync with the camera over there for your level 2 ADAS features. And now let's quickly go on to the side and tell you more about that. So now this is the side profile of the vehicle. Now the side profile of the vehicle, if you see it from the regular ICE variant, it is not much of a difference. Well, however, you get the EV badging right over here and these are 19-inch aero wheels. The tire section is a 245/55 R19 and these are electric specific tires, so they have a little less rolling noise when you are driving the car, and that is important because since it does not have an engine, the tire noise could be a problem. Well, I will explain that more when I'm driving the car to you. It's got this blacked out ORVM with integrated indicator and you can see a camera over here. So basically this gets a 360-degree camera feature, and you also have this piano black roof rail. There is no chrome on the car whatsoever, and the body lines and creases run all the way from the front all the way to the tail light over here. Now you can see it gets a wrapped around tail light, and if you can just move to the back, the very first thing you will notice are these wrapped around tail lights, and apart from that you can see you get this QWD dual motor. So this is a dual motor setup. Obviously you have a rear wheel drive setup as well, but this variant that we have currently is the dual motor setup. Now let's move to the back, and over here you can see you get this connected LED tail light right over here. You get a wiper with a washer, you get a spoiler, a high stop mount light, defoggers. So you have the Harrier EV badging right over here that is present in black. Again, a good thing it is not in chrome. Well, there are a couple of ways that you can open the boot. You can open it from the request sensor, you can open it from the key of the vehicle, you can open it from a dedicated button that's given on the dashboard. So this is the key of the vehicle. As you can see over here, you have a couple of buttons. Right away you have a lock button, unlock button, that's to operate the light, that's to open the boot. You have a hold button over here, that's a power button to switch on the car and switch off the car, that's your automatic parking button, and these two buttons are to move the car front and back. So just in case if there is something parked or if there is some obstruction that you can't get in and out of the car, so you can just hold this button, the car will automatically move ahead and back without the driver. So these features were seen on the BMW cars, but now you have it on the Tata Harrier EV as well. And let's open the boot now. So as I mentioned, there are a couple of options that you can open the boot with. So that is another option where that's a hands-free boot opening, and you have a 502 liters of boot space. Well, talking about boot space, you also get a frunk in the front, where in the rear wheel drive variant you have a 67 liters of frunk space, but in the all-wheel drive variant, since there's a motor at the front, you will get around 35 liters of frunk space, which is pretty decent, I say. And it's an electronic boot, so just press this and the boot will close automatically. So this basically sums up the rear section. Before going off, let me tell you that there is a camera right over there that is basically for your electric IRVM, and the electric IRVM obviously works in sync with that. That also acts as a rear dash cam. So now let's move on the inside and I'll tell you more about that. So now let's sit at the rear of the car. Now there is a lot of space where you can see over here. First of all, you get a manual sunshade right over here. You get a huge panoramic sunroof. Let me just open the shade. So that is how the shade opens, and all the way up to the back. Now the shade is very nice. It's not translucent, it is completely opaque, so sunlight will not enter the cabin. And as you can see that the sunroof is all the way to the back. Now this seat is adjusted according to my height. My height is 6'1", and you can see I have a pretty decent amount of knee room over here. Leg room could have been slightly better. Under thigh support could have been slightly better. The seats are comfortable, I will give that. They can't recline back, but you have one thing that is really nice, and those are these adjustable headrest, that the winglets. So basically if you are falling asleep, well, your head will not roll off, and that's a really good feature. Well, also you can see you get an armrest with 2 cup holders. You can close this if you're 3 people sitting. Well, the third person does not get a headrest over here. Well, you have boss mode where you can control the front seat from here without disturbing the passenger. So this is the rear section. You have some storage space over here. You have 2 Type-C chargings over here, and these are 65 watt fast charging Type-C ports. So this sums up the rear section. Now let's go to the front and check that part out. So now we are at the front section of the Harrier EV, and over here you get a lot of things. Now first of all, you can see you get this electric IRVM that I was just showing. So it basically acts as a dash cam. The rear is recording it. It gets a front camera as well right over here on the IRVM that obviously records the front as well. We have a 14.5 inch infotainment system. A lot of things can be controlled from here. You can control Android Auto, Apple CarPlay is wireless, you have Amazon Alexa, you have a Digi Access, Dolby Atmos. Ton of things can be controlled from this as well. Now this is again a touch panel over here just below the AC vents, where you have a lot of buttons. These are touch sensitive buttons, 2-zone climate control, 360-degree camera. You can open the boot, open the charging socket. So a lot of features over here. You get a wireless charger right over here. Then you have 45 watt fast charging Type-C port right here. And this is a dedicated stroller for the off-road modes. Now you have normal, then you have snow and grass, then there is mud ruts, then you have sand and rock crawl, and then you have a custom mode where you can customize and individually set your mode according to your needs. Well, you have 3 other buttons. You have your eco mode, then you have your boost mode that obviously unleashes all the 390 bhp that this car gets. You have a sport mode, and then you have a dedicated parking button. This is your gear lever, that's your parking sensor. You also get an NFC card with this. So this basically, if you don't have the key, this is the key of the vehicle, but if you don't have this, you can use this as well. So on the B pillar you have the sensor for this. You press it, the car will unlock, and right over here you have a sensor to start the car. So you have to place the card over here, and then you can start the car and drive off. Well, you can also download the key on your smartphone, and you don't need both these things. If you have the key downloaded on a smartphone, you can obviously access the car through your phone as well. Now the steering wheel is adjusted for tilt and telescopic both. It's a flat bottom steering wheel with which has this kind of a piano black finishing. It has an illuminated logo. Steering mounted controls are on either sides. These are your stocks for your wiper, that's your stock for your headlight, and obviously you have level 2 ADAS, so you can control the ADAS features through the right hand side of the steering mounted controls. Now you can see that the upholstery of this is really nice. You get a dual tone upholstery, plus you have this blue kind of stitching that looks cool. As I mentioned, there is boss mode in this, and these seats are ventilated. Both the seats are electronically adjustable, and you have the ventilation option right over here. There are 3 levels of ventilation, and you can also see that the dashboard has some, like it looks like carbon fiber, but obviously it is not carbon fiber. They have given this white kind of a treatment that actually looks very, very nice. So overall the cabin experience is good, and now let's quickly drive the car, and I will tell you everything you need to know about the driving part of the Harrier.EV. So now we're at the driving seat of the all new Harrier.EV, and let me give you a quick specification about this car. Now this car comes in 2 variants. Now one is a rear wheel drive and one is an all wheel drive. The all wheel drive is one that we are driving. It's called the QWD, that's a quad wheel drive. Battery pack option is a 65 kilowatt hour and a 75 kilowatt hour. Now the top end variant that we are driving today, we are driving the 75 kilowatt hour battery pack. If we talk about the power output, 390 bhp and around 505 Nm of peak torque is what this car produces. Now if we talk about the 0 to 100 timing of this car, now the 0 to 100 timing of the Harrier EV, especially with the 75 kilowatt hour battery pack, is around just below 6 seconds. So I mean, it is a pretty fast car, and you have a lot of driving modes. So you have terrain modes as well, and as I mentioned, you have driving mode. You have a boost mode. So we'll just quickly hit the boost mode and quickly show you the acceleration. Just do a small pull till there, and here we go. There you go. There we already touched 90 kilometers, and Yeah, on boost mode, this car actually is very quick. So overall, it is a very nice car to drive. Suspension wise, the suspension is on the softer side, but being on the softer side means that you have a little bit of a body roll, but it is very comfortable on the inside as well. But yeah, since it's an SUV and since it has a big battery pack underneath, so I mean, body roll, this is not something that you will take very fast around corners. Yeah, but one thing, since this is the all-wheel drive version, you can actually do some hardcore off-roading with this. Well, we have an off-roading video that is running on our YouTube channel, so you can go check that out. And it also has a ADAS video, separate ADAS video that we shot, and that is also live on our channel, so you can go check out both those videos. And we have already explained about the ADAS level 2, about all the features of the ADAS level 2 that this gets. It's a very safe car. Talking about safety, it gets 5-star rating for adult occupants as well as child occupant, and that is from Bharat NCAP. So that's again a very good thing. You have 6 airbags as standard, and you have all 4 disc brakes. But however, the bite from the brake actually feels a little bit squishy. The initial bite is not there, but when you press the pedal a little harder, then obviously the car will stop. But that initial bite confidence is slightly not there. So I mean, it will not make you very confident when you're driving at high speeds. Talking about high speeds, this can reach, as I mentioned, triple digit speeds. 100 kilometers comes in just under 6 seconds, and obviously it can go all the way up to the 200 kilometer mark. We already done 170, 180 at the BIC when we were testing the car for the off-road day. So yeah, 180, 190, 200 kilometers is not a problem. So now let's talk about the range of this vehicle. So the claimed range for the rear wheel drive, that's the 65 kilowatt hour battery pack, is around 538 kilometers. That is what Tata claims. But the range for this one, that is the quad wheel drive, the 75 kilowatt hour, well, you also have a 75 kilowatt hour battery pack with the rear wheel drive also. So the quad wheel setup and the 75 kilowatt hour battery pack setup has a range, as a claimed range of about 622 kilometers. Well, easily you can go more than 500, a little more than 500 kilometers realistically, if you ask me, and that is not a bad thing. Now, since this is an EV, let us talk about the charging as well. Now, there are a lot of ways you can charge the car. Now, the default charger that comes with the car is a 3.3 kilowatt charger that goes in your wall socket. And trust me, the 75 kilowatt hour battery pack, it actually takes around 30 hours to charge. Now imagine, like, if that's an emergency charger obviously, but 30 hours just from the stock charger that comes with the car. Obviously, if you shell out around 50,000 rupees more, you will get a 7.2 kilowatt hour charger, and that charges the car from 0 to 80% in I guess between 12 to 15 hours. And then you have the 60 kilowatt hour fast charging that will actually charge the car very quickly in about 1.5 hours or 1 hour 40 minutes. This car also gets it can support a 120 kilowatt fast charging, and 0 to 80 in the 120 kilowatt hour fast charging just takes around 25 minutes. So imagine 100% charge in 40-45 minutes, and that is something really amazing. Obviously, you will have to pay a little extra, and you'll have to find a 120 kilowatt hour charger. You cannot install that charger at home because obviously it needs an industrial line, because it's 120 kilowatt. I mean, it has a lot of power that it can consume. So I mean, you cannot get a 120 kilowatt charger at your home. The max you can get is maybe like an 11 kilowatt hour charger, but 7.7 is what Tata has, apart from the stock charger that you get with the car. So overall, I would say the charging facility is nice since you have a lot of charger, and 60 kilowatt hour charger is available almost like in every corner of the city. Somewhere or the other you will definitely find it. So it's a very nice car. Well, acceleration, as I showed you, is very nice. Suspension is okay. The steering wheel is good, I would say. However, this 2-spoke steering wheel, if it would not have had a 2-spoke steering wheel and a kind of a slightly rounded steering wheel, the feel would have been slightly better. But the steering wheel is nice. It is not something that you would like to complain. Overall, it's a good car. Pricing wise also, it is very good. The prices start at 21.5 lakh rupees for the rear wheel drive variant and goes all the way up to the 30.3 lakh ex-showroom mark for this one, that is the 75 kilowatt hour quad wheel drive variant that we are driving today. So guys, overall it is a very good car, and trust me, I mean, there's one thing that we would like to show you. We cannot do this in the video, but we'll have to make a separate reel on that. So if you're traveling below 20 kilometers an hour. There's a speaker inside the bonnet that actually tells people, I mean, it makes some noise, it is kind of an electronic noise that comes out, hinting people that there is something rolling towards you, because obviously this is an EV and it's a very, very silent car. So overall, guys, it is absolutely blistering fast. The Harrier EV is a nice car. It looks good. It's got brilliant color option. Harrier itself has been a very good model for Tata, and I think this is one of the best looking cars and the fastest car that you have in here. Well, it also has a drift mode if you want to go a little bit of a drifting, especially the rear wheel drive. On the all wheel drive has it, so the power cuts out on the front wheel and you have power on the rear wheel, so you can slide around corners. And trust me, 505 Nm of peak torque is a massive number, and this is what it allows you to do. Yeah, acceleration is definitely quick. We'll just quickly accelerate over here once again before we end the video to just show you of how fast you can go on this car. So here we go. Put your foot down, and there you go. We reached almost 100 once again. There you go. So yeah, it is a fantastic car. Overall, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, share and subscribe to all our social media channels. I'm Promit signing out. See you next time. Thank you so much for watching. Take care, be safe and drive safe.